Welcome to Stonewatch. Today we're talking about Matt Reeves the Batman. If you haven't already, please smash the subscribe button and click on that bell so you can notify if your future videos. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And yes, I went and checked out Matt Reeves the Batman at the theater this weekend, and I gotta say, this movie is so damn awesome. I mean, I had an awesome time with this movie. It was a lot of fun. There were some parts that were actually kind of scary, to be quite honest with you. I mean, this movie is awesome. I have to say it's probably one of the best, or if not the best, Batman movie I've ever seen. Now, I'm going to have to probably go see it maybe once or twice more in the theaters, mind you. Even though it's 3 hours, I'm going to go see it in the theaters on the big screen again because that was just so damn awesome. The only thing bad about my experience with this movie is that I had to do the 3 hours on a regular old school movie seat. No recliner, no table in front of me to put all my stuff, whatever. I mean, that was kind of uncomfortable, and it kind of, let's say, it took me out of it. And I know this is a first world problem. What have you, not having recliner seats? Oh, poor you. You didn't have a recliner seat during a 3 hour movie. Poor baby, poor you. I mean, I made it through, and I didn't have to go to the bathroom. I was actually quite shocked. I kind of paced myself with the eating and the drinking of the soda while I was watching this movie so I would not have to get up because I didn't want to get up, and I waited throughout the whole entire credits. Now, I thought that there was not a credit scene. Apparently, I watched a couple breakdown videos, and I am wrong. Now, I don't really consider this a spoiler, so please, if you do, here's your one and only spoiler warning. Now, at the very end of the movie, which normally would be a credit scene, like that we've gotten used to from the MCU over the years, is that they have the question mark and what have you, showing that kind of like looked like the Riddler was trying to sign back onto his online account, and they just basically said goodbye. But according to what I've seen in a couple of breakdown videos, if you went to the website where this thing is supposed to be linked to, and there's a list of questions, if you answer all the questions right, then you get some extra stuff from the movie that way. Now, nobody told me about this. I didn't think about it. I mean, I was like, okay, that made no sense. I thought that was not a credit scene, but apparently it kind of is, but you got to do a little extra effort in order to get it, which I think is kind of cool, and I actually might go try that myself, just see if I can get the questions right and see what it's all about. I mean, I thought that was kind of neat. Now, I recently did a rewatch of Batman 89. Please check out my video on that. And in that video, I said I was kind of worried about the 3 hour runtime and going, I don't know, because there were some people saying that they thought the movie was a little bit too long and it could have cut some out. So I was all worried about this 3 hour movie, and it'd be like, man, they could have chopped off at least good 20 minutes. And I didn't get that at all. I did not. From start to finish of the movie, I was like, the pacing and the story had me locked in. I never thought once to look at my phone to see what time it was. I mean, I was locked into the story. I wanted to see where this was going to go, and I didn't want to miss a thing. So I did not really notice on it being 3 hours. It didn't feel like a 3 hour movie. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it wasn't at one point in this movie going, okay, can you really speed it up here? I mean, really? I didn't get that at all in this movie. Not once. Also, Colin Farrell is phenomenal. I mean, if you did not know that the Penguin was Colin Farrell, you wouldn't know. I mean, you can't, obviously with all the makeup and stuff they have on him, you can't really recognize his face, and you cannot recognize his voice at all. I mean, the dialect that he was using, couldn't tell who it was. I mean, it could be a completely different guy. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was totally phenomenal. Now, there's supposedly going to be a HBO series with the Penguin being like the main character of that show, I guess. Now, at first I'm going, I don't know if I want to watch that. But after seeing this movie, I am so down on that show. The Batman is a 2022 American superhero film based on the DC Comics character Batman. Produced by DC Films, 6 in Idaho, and Dylan Clark Productions. Distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures. It is a reboot to the Batman film franchise. Directed by Matt Reeves, who also co-wrote the screenplay with Peter Craig. Film is set 2 years after crime fighting, and we see Batman has uncovered corruption in the Gotham City while pursuing the Riddler, a serial killer who targets Gotham's elite. Development began after Ben Affleck was cast as Batman for the DC Extended Universe in 2013. Affleck signed on to direct, produce, co-write, and star in The Batman, but had reservations about the project and dropped out. Reeves took over and reworked the story, removing it from the DCU connections, and sought to explore Batman's detective side more so than previous films, drawing inspiration from the 1970 films and the comics such as Year One from 1987, The Long Halloween from 1996 to 97, and Ego from the 2000 series. Pattinson was cast in May of 2019, with further castings in late of 2019. Principal photography took place in UK and Chicago between January of 2020 and March of 2021. The Batman premiered in London on February 23rd 2022, and was theatrically released on March 4th of 2022. It was delayed twice from its initial June 2021 release date due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Critics have praised the performances, cinematography, direction, visual style, action sequences, and the story, though some criticize the length. The film is intended to launch the Batman shared universe with 2 sequels planned and 2 spin-off television series in development for HBO Max. Starring in this movie, we have Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Paul Dano, Jeffrey Wright, John Turturro, Peter Skarsgård, Andy Serkis, and Colin Farrell, just to name a few. Now, currently, the Batman is sitting with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 85%, with 363 top critics so far reporting on what they thought. Now, over the audience side, we're sitting with a score of 90% out of 10,000 plus fans putting in their reviews. So far, the fans and critics are almost pretty much on the same page in how they love this movie. And I am definitely one of them. This movie was phenomenal. I cannot wait to go see this again in the theater. Regardless of the 3-hour runtime, I have to go see this movie again. Now, The Batman had a budget of $200 million. Now, so far, its total box office is being estimated bringing in $248 million worldwide. Now, it's $128.5 million domestically, $120 million internationally. Now, there was also a premiere of 350 theaters. I think it was across the country. It might have been around the world. I'm not really sure. But there was like 350 theaters on March 1st with the Batman filled up with fans. I think they had to pay a premium price in order to go. And I think it brought in like $21 million for that day, which everyone thought that was quite impressive. Now, I'm not sure whether or not it's included on that $248 million total at the box office. I tried to find it out and I couldn't really get heads or tails on it. So I don't know if that's included. So that might be 260 something million total if you count in that March 1st premiere. I'm not really sure. We'll have to wait and see how this pans out later in the week when we get the solid numbers. But right now, this movie is off to a great start. They're already planning on doing like 2 sequels. Now, I did see a interview with Matt Reeves that said the next movie is going to be about 2 or 3 years later on down the road. So like the next part of this story that we actually get to see is going to be the HBO Max series, I think centered around the Penguin. They also said there's going to be another spin-off series that's going to focus around Arkham Asylum. I thought that was pretty damn interesting because especially with that little tidbit at the end of this movie. Now, again, this movie was so damn awesome. I can't say it enough. I cannot say enough. This movie was awesome. Now, that is as far as I can go without getting into heavy spoilers, mainly because I got to go see that movie again because I'm still trying to wrap around my head of what I saw this weekend. I mean, it was so damn awesome. I mean, Matt Reeves did an awesome job directing this movie, I have to say. I mean, I don't know whether or not if anybody could have done a better job, but all I know is I enjoyed every single minute of this movie, the whole entire 3 hours of it, and it did not feel like 3 hours, except for the seat I was sitting in. But anyway, and Robert Pattinson did an awesome job as Batman and Bruce Wayne. I liked him in both roles in this movie. I mean, sometimes with all the other Batmans over the years, like, one guy would be good as a Batman, but he wasn't so good as a Bruce Wayne. You know what I'm saying? It kind of went back and forth each time they would change that actor to do that role, And I think Robert Pattinson, regardless of what anybody else says, including my younger brother, he did an awesome job in this movie. He was perfect for this role. You know what I'm saying? And Paul Dano as Riddler, I mean, man, he was awesome. I mean, he was way better, no offense to Jim Carrey, but he was way better at the Riddler than he was in this one. It was like, he was scary good as the Riddler, you know what I'm saying? Not just like goofy and kind of like doing Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey. But that's what they led him to do. And at the time, it kind of helped sell toys and everything else and what have you. But Paul Dano's Riddler was so damn awesome. And just knowing that he's going to come back later on down the road, right? I mean, this movie was so damn awesome. And Jeffrey Wright as Gordon, the dynamic between him and Batman was pretty damn cool, and it was kind of weird to see how like some of the cops were like kind of cool with Batman, other of the cops were not kind of cool with Batman. I kind of liked how they had it to where this is like 2 years after they've been dealing with Batman being around and what have you, and everybody's talking about it on the news and whatnot. It was like, and they kind of did a little bit of an origin story with his parents, but they didn't actually show it. I mean, they really hint at that they were shot and all this other stuff, and we kind of find out why in the course of this movie, which again, I'll let you go see it for yourself before I get really heavy into spoilers. This movie is so damn awesome. 3 hours of the story time, and it was so awesome. Did you watch Matt Reeves' Batman? Let me know in the comments down below. Where do you rank this movie with the other Batman movies we've got over the years? Let me know in the comments down below. I mean, I cannot wait to see these HBO Max series that are going to tie into this, right? I mean, that fascinates me. I mean, the MCU's doing it, and they're doing a pretty damn good job with it. I want to see whether or not if Matt Reeves can actually pull this off. Now, he said he didn't like the whole thing about a whole shared universe, but now he's kind of doing his own little thing. It's basically the same thing, but he's running the show. So I have to wait and see how that all plays out. So let me know what you think in the comments down below.